Hi, this is Ted Leslie with Let Out the Clutch, sponsored to you by My Biker Attorney. I've got two good friends of mine today, Bryan Nikkel and Shelby Combs. And just kind of introduce you guys to them. They actually, everybody knows you already, I think, more than they know me. But
I don't know.
We've been around a little bit.
I've known you guys for a long time, so we were just talking that before. Do you think it's back to the Billy Goat days or when?
Yeah, I bet it's been 15, 20 years anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
A long time ago, and you guys have been friends of mine, but you have this passion for motorcycles that I share, but you have traits and talents that I don't have. And you guys seem to be kind of an odd couple that are together, working together at OKC Chop Shop. So, what's your background? Bryan, where are you from?
Where am I from?
Yeah.
I'm from McLeod,
Okay.
Oklahoma. I don't know. Graduated high school, tried college for a year. It wasn't for me. Started working, fell into the motorcycle thing, and been doing that for, I don't know, 25 years, I guess, probably.
I would describe you as a fabricator. Is that what
Yeah,
you
yeah. A builder. I mean, like I do more than just make stuff out of metal. You know, I'll do some wiring, or I can do engine work and stuff, but Shelby's a little more versed with that, you know, educated, and, you know, so
Shelby?
so in our shop, that's how we handle things. I make stuff and he does the mechanic work, you know.
And I know you from the same thing, the Billy Goat days, but you've got an Air Force background.
Yeah, we are actually in the same squadron somewhat here at the 552 and with the E3s. I'm originally from Oklahoma. I was born and raised in Norman pretty much, and then when I was 17, I jumped ship and ran off to the Air Force for a little bit of excitement. Bounced around the world for about 15 years, lived in Japan for about 5 years. Lived in Arizona off and on for about 10 years, and then decided to come back to Oklahoma, retired here out of Tinker, and I've always been into motorcycles. My family owned motorcycle dealerships here in Oklahoma City back in the 70s, and I grew up riding dirt bikes, and I've raced road course street bikes, and I've always had a hand in motorcycles in one way, shape, or form. And then when I retired from the Air Force, I was like, go ahead and open up a small shop, talk with Bryan, and we went in together and opened up OKC Chop Shop.
Has that been 5-6 years now?
It's almost 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost 10 years now.
My goodness.
2008 when
I
we
did the
opened.
paperwork for it that
Yeah.
long ago.
Yeah.
So how did you two meet?
We actually met at a bike night on the south side at Hooters.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know?
That's
And,
been a
yeah.
minute ago.
Just talking, you know, he had a shovel head and I was on my chopper, and we just started talking. Then didn't see each other for a while, and then, you know, there used to be an event down by Davis called Just Kickers. That was, I mean, it was just a camp out. It was a good time. It was choppers, you know, and mainly old stuff that's kickstart, you know, and yeah, so we pull in one day and he got there before us, and he happened to be set up right next to one of our guys that went early, and he set up. They had already become friends, and so by the time we got there and got our tents set up and, you know, all that business, I mean, we're already hanging out, and, you know, we had met before. We recognized each other, but yeah, we just started talking, and kind of ever since then we started riding together a lot. You know, the whole Billy Goat group,
Right.
you know, just
That was
us and Josh
Yeah.
and Ash and Landon and,
Yeah.
you know, everyone. So, you know, yeah. So,
Did the
we
Billy
just-
Goats still get together at all?
Every once in a while, we'll gather up and just go have a couple of beers or something, usually around Josh's place. So go out there and,
He's in Newcastle, I think.
yeah, he's out there and,
And he's doing
Yeah.
powder coating.
Yeah.
Him and Aaron.
yeah.
yeah.
So we'll get together out there and hang out, or go out to Middick's house up here in,
Yeah, Middick's
in
not far from
Guthrie.
here.
Yeah. So we still keep in touch with everybody. We're not as active as we used to be when we had the 401c, but we still get together and go out and do stuff.
And we talked about Billy Goat. Back in the day, you guys put on a charity event that was sponsored and helped out cancer families,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Neuroblastoma.
Which is what my son had.
Yeah.
So that was an affinity that I had to you guys, because I've always, you know, care about charities, but I'm more involved with ones that have to do with kids.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It was nearby Stonewood. That was my son's disease, so that was kind of where it fit. You guys actually helped me with a bike for Nick, didn't you?
Yeah, we you brought us Nick's bike, and we tried to make it a little bit more comfortable for him. So, did a little bit of customization to it, put a backrest on it, made it louder, of course, and yeah, we put Basanis on everything. So that was a fun little project. Getting to see Nick ride it around was a lot of fun and entertaining. And then you brought us the prospect of building the blue chopper for you, and we jumped on the ball on that too.
Yeah, I had some help getting that started from Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bunch of parts sitting around, and it kind of got stalled out with money and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You guys were willing to help me get it started, and man, that was a long project, a lot of years. But I would just come to you and go, look, I got $500, or I got this. What can we do now? And you guys kind of shepherded me toward the right way to do things.
No, it turned out to be a really nice bike, and you started off with a really good base. I mean, the Sugar Bear frame, the front end, the choice of engine, powertrain, everything. So you went down the right route with it to make an iconic looking bike. So
It rides good.
yeah,
It surprisingly rides
Yeah.
good. It takes a country mile to turn it.
Yeah.
it's a long bike. It's 9.5
it's-
feet long.
Yeah.
So, but
Were there challenges to that bike? I mean, it came.
Yeah.
It wasn't not a kit bike. This is a one-off bike.
Yeah.
Right.
I ordered the frame from Sugar Bear. The front end was Sugar Bear. He didn't make the frame, but it was out of his jig.
Yeah, it's a Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, that's out of
frame.
Canada, I think,
That's-
isn't it?
Yeah, they're out of Canada.
And that's a nice
They
manufacturer.
make a lot of frames.
They did.
Yeah.
And then he made the front end, handmade.
Right.
And then you guys took it from there. I think I already had wheels by that
Yeah.
time. So, were there challenges to that bike as far as putting
Well,
it together? Or?
with any frame that you buy, 90% of the time it doesn't have any tabs on it for fenders or any oil tank tabs. So you got to figure out all of that before you got to pre-wire it before you paint, do anything, because you don't want to be going back and drilling holes in fresh paint and powder coat. So basically the process is you build the whole bike in a raw form and chase down your troubles and issues and get them squared away before you start doing the finalization. Then you blow it back apart again and send it out to paint, powder coat, and then
That was Randy.
Randy Branham. Yep.
Corrupt Customs. I don't think they're still Corrupt Customs.
Well, he still has it.
Yeah.
He works for Fat Fabs.
Yeah.
The truck
Yeah,
modification.
yeah. But he still, he has a really nice shop at his house, and man, he stays really busy. He only lives like 2.5 miles from me, so I don't see him often, but sometimes,
I call him the young gun because he was young but has incredible talent.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does, and he's good at everything. I mean, he's good at working like sheet metal, and he's become a good welder. And I mean, he catches on. He's a smart kid.
Yeah.
He was in my mom's second grade class. My mom was a teacher.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah.
My chopper turned out wonderful, and it does have the Sugar Bear frame and the front end. We bought the wheels, but from there on, we built stuff.
Yeah.
That's a pronoun that I shouldn't be using. You guys built things, and the handlebars and all that kind of stuff. You actually made those. did you
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
We try to tailor anything that, especially with a customer build, you got to tailor it to the customer, because I can make a bike that's comfortable for me, and you won't enjoy riding it.
We had fittings basically. Come down.
Come down here,
Yeah.
sit on the bike. Let's see how long your arms are. And
If you had your choice of what you're going to do for the rest of your life, would it be custom builds or repairs or maintenance, or what do you like?
Oh,
to do?
builds,
build
for sure. Yeah,
that's
for me.
that's the fun
anyway.
stuff, especially because like get Bryan doing the fabrication. He can see it in his mind a lot better than I can. I'm more mechanical. I'm the engineering type. I want to know how it ticks, how it works, and what we can do to make that better. But seeing what Bryan can do, taking a flat piece of metal and banging it into shape and making something actually look really good out of it. So
Well, from the handlebars, you did those. You did my foot pegs, my shifter, my brake lever, all that. Because you turned that on the machine.
Yeah. We didn't really do like sheet metal work on it. We're not really equipped for that, for making gas tanks and stuff. I mean, we can make like coffin tanks and prison tanks, but we do a lot of modifications. Axing is what they call it, like splitting the gas tank down the center and cutting the tunnel out of it.
And I
redoing
specifically
it.
went with a soft tail
Yeah.
rather than a rigid because I wanted a bike I could ride. I wanted a bigger tank. I wanted something I could actually ride. Is there anything looking back on it I should have done different?
No, not for you especially. I mean,
I think the way that, especially the way that frame is designed and the way that bike is built off that frame and front end, I think it came out the best it really could. Because it's a wide back tire, so you're kind of limited on your choice of fenders to make it actually flow and look decent. So you don't want a big square fender on everything else that's got nice rounded edges on it and everything. But your bike kind of built itself just through specific items. Like the tank kind of dictated how the rear fender needed to look because you want everything to kind of match and flow.
Well, funny stories. I've taken to Sturgis a few times to see Sugar Bear.
yeah.
And the last time I was there, he told me that he was convinced he was building a blue bike now after having mine.
Oh, yeah?
He said he's never had a blue of his own bike, so he's going to build one now. And I asked him what I should have done differently, and he thought that my engine was too big, which I'm not sure that can be true or not. But he said that he liked the lighter, smaller motors for the bike to be nimble.
Yeah.
That was his only constructive criticism, is that maybe I went overboard when I was picking motors to put in.
Yeah, to me, the SNS 111
Yeah.
is just an awesome motor. It's
I
a
went with
smaller.
124.
Yeah,
I mean, and
they're hossy.
Yeah, it'll get that bike up and moving, but it's a heavy bike too. So you definitely an 80 cubic inch is not going to be happy in a frame like that. So.
And that's what he was leaning toward. He goes, I don't like the big motors. I want something light and nimble and blah, blah, blah. And talked about it and stuff. But it was kind of a joke that I had bought way too much motor for this, what he had intended the bike to be when he
Right.
Better to
yeah.
have more than less. That's my
Well,
opinion.
he comes from the days of riding, panheads and shovels, and so 74 inches, so.
He doesn't think it was long enough either, I think.
Yeah.
If it's not long, it's wrong or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of I wouldn't call it a short bike for him, but it's to the shorter side for him.
Because your front end, what was it, 17 over?
I don't remember.
I think it was
so.
17 over. So it's still plenty long.
Yeah, that's a long bike.
And how does it ride compared to the choppers you've ridden? It's the only chopper I've ever ridden.
It rides actually, about the same as far as handling goes, nimbleness and stuff. It's like you said, you have to have a parking lot to turn the thing around, but going straight down the road, it's not lethargic at high speed. It's not lethargic at low speed. It handles like it should.
And
that's Sugar Bear's done all that math,
right?
To get the
a lot
rake
of that's
and trail.
like he's saying, getting the rake and the trail and the geometry of the frame and the front end right. And I've ridden a couple of long bikes, and even a couple with Sugar Bear front ends that didn't have the geometry right, and they're scary. You got to kind of surf them, even in just changing lanes and stuff, and they're real floppy in the front
I have
end.
a lot of flop in the bars.
And yours doesn't have that.
Well, and I'm not a mechanical like you guys are, but I do a lot of research, and it said that if I bought his frame with the front end, I'd be better off than if I didn't get his frame.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he sets the geometry. He knows what the geometry needs to be to make them ride correct.
If you have someone that's gonna, if you were to build a one-off frame for that front end, and build the bike around that without using Sugar Bear's designed frame, a good builder like Sam Wills, he's gonna figure your rake and trail and get it where it's gonna handle well at low speeds and high speeds.
Have you ever worked with him?
Sam, yeah, I worked there. I worked there for a few months when Brass Balls shut down the first time.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and then of course he built one of the Ridley model frames he built. That's whenever I met Sam, was back then, and got to know him, and he'd come to the shop 2 or 3 times a week, and he'd always walk through. And
I say that Oklahoma's a small town. Be careful who you're talking about, because somebody that is related to them knows them.
yeah.
But you brought up Ridley. I was back at the big law firm in the day, and we represented Ridley.
Yeah.
So I don't think I knew you back then, but I went to the factory several times for different reasons. I can't recall why.
Yeah.
But that's been 20 plus years ago, I'm sure.
We had man, how many people were there? There were probably 15 people there at any given time that worked there, so it was somewhat of an assembly line, I guess you could say. So yeah, you were probably up in the front building, which was the offices and stuff like that.
I went on the floor for some reason a few times, but
Yeah.
I don't know that I met you then. But it's just
Yeah.
I was a young lawyer working in a big firm and was sent over for some task. I'm not even sure what it was now.
Right.
And
It was a fun job. It was a really fun job.
do you still see those bikes out there?
Yeah.
We've had a couple
Yeah.
of them in the shop before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw
kinda-
one. We went to the Shawnee bike night here a few weeks back. I don't remember. They were doing it like the last Thursday, I think, of every
think so.
month. So I guess it was probably the one in July, maybe. And saw one parked there. And it was in great shape. I mean, it was like almost new
It's
looking.
about a 3/4 size motorcycle kind of deal.
Yeah, the Auto Glide was a full size bike.
Okay.
But they were, really low seat height and all that, and lightweight. And so I mean, I guess they were as big stature wise as like maybe a Sportster,
Okay.
So but of course compared to like a ultra classic or something, yeah, it's a small bike, but.
Was Brass Balls your next job from there?
Yeah. Ridley shut down when the economy took a dive, back in '08, and I still worked for Clay. I didn't draw unemployment, so he called me up like a couple of days later after we closed down, and I went back to work for him, and we were kind of consolidating things, and we, of course, still supporting the Ridleys that were out there. So, shipping stuff out, parts and stuff, to different dealerships. So I was handling all that and helped him move, because he sold everything. I mean, he lost a lot when the business shut down. But and then one day Dar called him. I guess after Sam kind of gave him the boot, but he called Clay and asked if he knew any builders. Clay gave him my number, and
Then Brass Balls.
started there a couple of days later.
We mentioned that we were in the Air Force together. I was in the 552nd. I was in the 964th for most of my time. You were A&P.
Yeah.
What was the transition like to Harley? Because don't you have a Harley certification as well?
Yeah, I went to MMI when I was stationed out at Luke Air Force Base in Phoenix. I had a good boss, and he allotted me the time to go and do the course because it was a 2-year-long course for MMI. So when I went out there, I was still on active duty, so I was basically a zombie for 2 years. I'd get up in the morning, go do PT, do a full shift out at the Air Force Base, and then come home, change clothes, and haul butt to school for 6 hours a night
To get your certifications.
to get my certifications. So
Now, you guys we talked about the chopper, but you guys work on all kinds of bikes now.
I'm a motorcycle snob. I love every kind of motorcycle. I am not a Harley guy. I'm not a crotch rocket guy. I'm a motorcycle guy. If it's got 2 wheels, I enjoy it. So I love riding dirt. I ride adventure bikes. I've had or have at least one of every type of motorcycle. So I've even got a scooter that you'll see me running around town on with a flame paint job and frill on the bottom of it. I mean, I don't care. I like motorcycles. So I've always been into them. It's always been something that was attracted to me, and everywhere I went, even when I lived overseas, when I lived in Japan, I had motorcycles. Me and my wife rode over in Japan for years and years. I raced over there for a little bit, and then when I moved back to the States and moved back to Arizona, first thing I was doing is hitting the Suzuki dealer up to find me a new GSXR 750 so I can go back to the track.
And I know you guys from all these different aspects. I see you in the adventure riding world too, and the dirt bikes. I've seen your post. Nikkel, somebody I think you've ridden with, and that kind of thing as well. You're wearing a shirt today that reminds me about a conversation. The FXRs. That's still a popular motorcycle from Harley.
Oh, yeah.
You guys both are into that that world too, are you not?
Yeah, that's,
Well,
that's
yeah,
Bryan's
I-
realm there.
Yeah, I love them. You know, they were the factory muscle bike. You know, from Harley. You know, and at the time that they came out, they were the greatest Harley they ever made. You know, I mean that they were a lighter weight, stiffer chassis. Was still a big twin. You know, all the fun of a Sportster, but the comfort of the FLH. You know, rubber mounted and almost the same chassis. You know, but yeah, there's a whole cult following behind that, and it happened pretty quick. You know, here a few years back. Before that, no one really knew what they were. I mean, it was nicknamed the Ugly Glide because they were ugly bikes.
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't sell well. They were, you know, the people that bought them because they wanted the hot rod, but they were an ugly bike. They were, a lot of guys thought they were too Japanese looking, you know, and the Dyna was such a better looking bike. They both shared the Super Glide moniker, you know, but no, I fell into, I looked for one for 10 years probably trying to find one that I could afford that wasn't just a total clapped out pile of junk, you know, and I came across mine, bought it, and rebuilt it a few years later, you know, still riding it.
Now, do you have one too or not?
I built one pretty much at the same time.
yeah.
And I had my Dyna also, and I was the snob for the Dyna, so I like my Dynas. So
Well, that's what I bought for Nick was a Dyna.
yeah, and so I built my FXR at the same time, and we rode them out to Sturgis and did the FXR show, and I came back and I moved on to a different project. Now I've got a Road Glide ST, like your
Fast Johnny.
Fast Johnny, and it's a fun bike. I've always liked the smaller, faster, nimbler bikes, and for me, lowrider.
Yeah.
Low
So,
rider ST.
yeah.
Yeah, mine is starting to feel like it's mine now.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I felt like I was riding somebody else's bike
Yeah.
because I've had road glides for so long now. I mean, forever, and I didn't feel like it was mine. And you guys have helped me between the bars, the risers, the feet. Took it over to Arkansas in September, and it's beginning to feel like my bike now. You know, it's just taking a little bit of adjustments to get it right, and it's not a road glide.
No.
No.
The lowrider STs they're still a soft tail frame. They just have bags and a windscreen. So, but
And that takes some getting used to because it's got the fixed fairing, but it doesn't have the wind protection that I had on the road glide. And we traveled over on the bike, so I didn't have the storage I normally would have.
Right.
You know, I don't think it rode as good either. I'm not sure. It didn't like it was as smooth as my old. My
Oh, probably
2019.
not.
I mean, the road glide, those touring frames. I mean, they're made to eat up miles. So.
But you know, I got to where I could ride it comfortably, and then it was fun. You know, going to Eureka Springs and riding the Pig Trail and that kind of stuff because it's peppy. You know, the 117 motor does move. It sounds good with the Visani pipes you put on it. So I didn't know about the mini floorboards, but they've gotten more comfortable now too. I can move my foot around, you know, on a trip, and not too bad. So it's getting closer to my bike now. I think I'm not sure there's anything else I would do to it. Just ride it some more. You know, put some more miles on it.
I've never owned a bagger. I do all my touring on the FXR, you know.
What do you have?
I rode a Sportster to Wisconsin one time. You know, so I mean, it is what it is. You just get on it and go. You know?
It's the weirdest thing. I don't even know what year it was. In Sturgis, I'm getting fuel, and there you are at the gas station.
Yeah.
With Dar, I think it was.
Yeah.
That's been a long time ago.
Probably on the chopper. You know, we would trailer them up there.
Yeah, I don't know what you're riding. I think it was LDR.
Probably El Flaco.
El Flaco.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about the motorcycle, not just the industry, just the people. I can go get on my bike and ride 2,000 miles, and I will see somebody that I saw last week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was over there. I rode with a friend of mine, David, and we stopped to get fuel, and you know, somebody walked out and went, "Hey, Greg, how are you?"
Yeah.
David's like, "Wait, how do you know Dave? I mean, how do you know Greg?" I'm like, "Well, he's from here. I know, you know."
Yeah.
He rides a bagger. He has
Small world.
It is a small world.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. So, do you ride El Flaco very much?
Yeah, some. I don't ride it as much as I used to. The FXR is just easier. You know, you push the button and it starts, and you hold more fuel, and has rear suspension. You know, but I do ride it. You know, we rode up to Kansas too.
Okay.
And didn't you just get back from a trip?
Yeah, we did the FXR tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
You too. That's a
No, they went.
That's from the
You got a
show.
t-shirt?
I got the T-shirt. Yeah.
Well, that's from Sturgis.
Yeah, this is
Well,
from
I
the
didn't see the
Sturgis
last
show.
The
Yeah.
FXR tour went to Born Free,
Okay.
Texas.
I don't know where that is.
Well, Born Free is it's the chopper show these days. It's out in Silverado Canyon, California, out by LA.
Okay.
And just just east of LA. And so
What time of year?
It's in June.
June.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, a few years back, I guess, this was the third year for it. They had the Born Free Texas edition.
Okay.
And it's at Yellow Rose Canyon, which is in East Texas. It's a pretty nice place, pretty sweet event, you know.
And is that the recent one you went to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't go to Born Free. We just, you know, they do this FXR tour to Born Free.
I got you.
And so for me, it was like I couldn't really be gone from home that long, so I kind of had to choose. Do I do the FXR tour? Do I go to Born Free? And I wanted to ride, you know. So it started out, it's a different area every year, you know, kind of like the Hot Rod Power Tour kind of thing.
Are all bikes welcome, or is it just
Yeah,
FXR?
yeah, all
Chop?
bikes are welcome. Yeah, yeah, there are a lot of baggers and stuff too, you know. But it's focused around the FXR, you know. But there were Dynas too, you know. But it started in St. Louis, went to Joplin, went to Hot Springs, Arkansas, then to Dallas, Strokers, you know, and then to Yellow Rose Canyon.
Now, do you do off-road riding?
No.
That's your bailiwick. Now, I've seen you do that. I've seen you at Hallett riding a supermoto. So, what's your favorite type of riding, or do you have one?
I like dirt riding just because I grew up doing it. It's like going back to my youth. So
Your mom rides.
yeah, my mom rode for years and years. She raced powder puff back in the 70s, and so like I said, I grew up. My entire family rode. My grandmother rode. My grandfather rode. When we would go out to ride dirt, we go to Cass, Arkansas, or Honabi down in southeastern Oklahoma. The entire family would go. So dirt's always kind of been a going back home for me kind of thing. So I do enjoy going out there and riding dirt, but like I said, I liked racing on road course too. I raced in the Championship Cup Series out in Arizona for quite a few years, and I enjoyed that. Going fast is fun. Falling down, going fast is not fun. So I broke my back out in Arizona, got bumped off the highway by a kid with a horse trailer, and that kind of put an end to the racing thing. So, but like I said, I'm pretty much an all-arounder. If I can get on a ride, I'll enjoy it. So,
Yeah.
but
You made a joke where I was looking at getting the lowrider ST, and you offered me to ride yours, and I said, "No, I'm not going to ride your bike." And you said, "Why? I've ridden all of yours."
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I've got a couple more coming to you now.
Yeah.
I need to get my KTM into you too.
no,
So then I'll be coming to you pretty soon. I think it needs a little TLC.
no worries. We can get you hooked
So-
up.
What's next for OKC Chop Shop? You guys going to be open more hours? Is it moving toward that goal of this being a full-time gig, or what?
You know, I work part-time for the Ridleys,
Right.
you know, and we have a history together, and they've been good to me, and so, you know, just kind of being loyal. But yeah, eventually, you know, I plan to do this full-time, you know.
You're still at Tinker, but not active duty.
No, I'm a civilian out at Tinker, but I mean, I'm just kind of go with the flow. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. So, but we'll keep plugging along and see what comes of it. So,
And when this is just chasing a rabbit here for a second, your musician career is taking a turn too. You say you've got a new group.
Yeah, we've started a new project.
Do you have a name for your band?
We're working on it. We are probably going to be Lamb Slaughter.
Okay.
That's probably the name. It's metal. Yeah, it's metal.
Death metal.
It's heavy stuff.
It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Is it going to be similar to the stuff from Broken Flesh?
Yeah.
And this is all original
That's
music?
kind of what I've always done. I mean, I did a side project years ago, but I still had my metal band. But I did a side project that was kind of a blues rock sort of thing, kind of 80s rock, I guess you could say. But yeah, I've always played this kind of music, you know. I got into it from the world of skateboarding, punk rock, and thrash, you know.
I would call it an acquired taste. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, most people can, you know, the vocals are the turnoff, but almost everyone appreciates the music.
Right.
Yeah.
If they can hear the music without the vocals, they love it, you know. But yeah, the vocals are kind of the killer for the average person.
Will the new group be Christian based as well?
Yeah. Or just a metal band of guys that believe that in God, you know. I mean, yeah.
Crazy. So what's your next build coming up? You anything you're working on special?
We're finishing up one for a customer down in, where's he, in Houston?
San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Yeah, I got a shovel head,
Yeah.
long bike.
What's the front end? Is it a Sugar Bear or something else?
No, it's a Ron Finch.
I don't know the name.
Yeah,
Pretty
you
prolific
you've seen
builder
his
back in the
bikes.
70s,
Yeah,
yeah.
you've seen his bikes.
But,
It's kind of been on hold, really, just because of other smaller work that has come in. You know, quicker turnaround work, I guess I should say, that comes in over the summer. You know, during riding season, and it's a full build. So full builds take a long time. You know, I mean, you know, the frame, the oil tank, everything on it, the foot controls. It's all custom built. You know, so a lot of time.
You guys have time for work this winter in the off season?
we usually pick up in the winter. During the summer, we do a lot of tuning service, and we'll do some frame stuff. Brian's chopping on frames all the time, pretty much. And whether he's setting up a rear wheel for a fender, or doing a sissy bar, or extending the neck on a frame, or doing a hardtail kit. But during the winter is usually when we get the more big projects, because the riding season slows down a little bit, so people are like, okay, I'm going to be off the bike for 3 months. Let me drop it at the shop and have quite a bit of work done. So usually during the winter we pick up. During the summer it's mainly tuning service, tire changes, stuff like that, and then trying to catch up on everything so we can have the winter to focus on the bigger projects.
Well, I appreciate you coming out early today, too, to work on my chopper.
Yeah.
Somebody had neglected it and let the air go out of the front tire and had to be reset.
It's no big deal.
No, I do have a few things I need to work on this winter.
Yeah.
KTM's one of them, so I've got some more projects coming your way. But Shelby and Bryan, I thank you for being here.
Yeah,
problem.
man. Thanks for
Appreciate it.
having
We
us.
call it Let Out the Clutch. Brought to you by my biker attorney, and just trying to promote Oklahoma businesses that do motorcycles. So
Sweet.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
So thanks
that's
for
cool.
coming,
Thanks
guys.
for having us on.
I appreciate
Thank
you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.